Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 safety rules that every new rider should know. Now, horses are very kind and gentle creatures. So this video isn't meant to scare anyone. They really are truly the best, but they are easily frightened and they're quite timid. So these safety rules are ones that every rider should know to help keep themselves safe. So my name's Meredith, and I have been riding for the last 20 years and teaching lessons for the past 10 years. And over the past 10 years, I've taught hundreds of beginner riders. And one of the first things that I teach them is to understand the nature of the horse. I think that's really important when you're working with them and keeping yourself safe. So horses are prey animals. So in the wild, they are eaten by things like lions, tigers, bears. And so their reactions are for their own survival. And I think that's an important thing to understand with horses, is that their reactions are perfect for what they're designed to do. They really are. They are quick. They're quick to react, and their reactions are great. But understanding that can help us understand the horses more and be a better partner for them, and also help keep us and them safer. So to start us off with, our first safety rule is to never go where the horse can't see you. So really great design. Their eyes are on the sides of their heads, as I'm sure that you've noticed. And so they can see almost 360 degrees around them. I mean, they have a huge field of vision, but they do have a couple of blind spots. So some places that you want to avoid is going behind the horse, standing directly in front of the horse, and then crossing underneath their neck, or believe it or not, underneath their belly. I never would have thought to say this until I had one little itty bitty student one time just cross to the other side of the horse by going right underneath their belly. Now, for obvious reasons, that's definitely not ideal. One of the golden rules around horses is that if you can't see the horse's eye, they can't see you. So if you're, let's say, coming up sort of behind a horse and you're not sure if they can see you, just take a peek and make sure that you can see the horse's eye. And if you can, it's a good idea to just talk softly to them, let them know that you're there so that you don't surprise them. Safety rule number 2 is that you don't want to be running, yelling, or even any abrupt movements around your horse. Horses who feel safe where they live in their environment will be safer to work with. So you can understand now, because they're prey animals, any really abrupt movements, loud noises, things like running, horseplay, pushing each other, whatever, when you're around them, can be quite frightening for them. So in order to keep yourself safe, try to make your horse feel more comfortable by not running around and jumping and yelling. And even if you're excited, try to keep that at bay and just be nice and calm and gentle and quiet. Horses really appreciate that. Safety rule number 3 is to make sure that you're wearing the proper gear around horses. So not only will this help keep you comfortable, but it'll also offer you the most protection. So if you want a more detailed description on this, you can check out my last video where we go all in on what you'll need to wear to your riding lessons. But the basic essentials are a properly fitted helmet that's been professionally fitted, full-length stretchy pants, boots with a 1/2 inch defined heel, and gloves. Safety rule number 4 is calling door when you're entering the arena or barn. So depending on the barn rules, we have a rule here that whenever you're going in and out of the riding arena, you have to say door really loud. This sounds absolutely crazy, but I promise in a barn, you won't sound crazy. What this does is this just lets, if someone's riding in the arena or in the barn, if you're coming out, depending if you're going in or out, it will just give the horse and the rider or handler a little bit of a heads up that you're going to be coming through. So you'll call door, maybe wait for a go ahead, and then go on in. Some barns have that, depending on how the barn is built, where you have to call door when you enter and exit the barn. So you'll just want to check in with your barn and see where they're at on that. But yeah, here, whenever you go in and out of the arena, you call door nice and loud. Safety rule number 5 is just making sure that you're checking the area that you're working in. So just making sure that it's free of any like tools, wheelbarrows, pitchforks, brooms, anything sticking out. If a horse can get caught up and hurt on it, they typically will get caught up and hurt on it. And so it's best to just avoid that altogether by just checking your work area, even like garbage, clutter, anything that you can do wherever you're bringing your horse through, whether it's an aisleway, whether it's through the barn, into a stall, wherever you're putting them, you want to make sure that that area is nice and clean and clutter-free. Safety rule number 6 is making sure that you're feeding, when you feed a treat, that you feed it with a flat hand. So horses can't actually see what they're eating. And so you can imagine if you're feeding a carrot it might feel a little bit similar to your finger. And the horse will never bite you on purpose, but if your finger's in the way and you bite, they bite down, and they'll spit you out as soon as they realize that you're not the treat that they were looking for. But it does hurt, and so to save your fingers from getting squished, always feed with a flat hand. Safety rule number 7 is to make sure that when you have the lead rope attached to the horse, to never wrap it around your hand. I mean, I could go on and on about safe handling and safe leading rules, but one of the biggest things that I see people do almost instinctively, I think, because when people have a dog, if you have a dog, you'll usually wrap the leash around your hand. Your dog is not 1,000 pounds. So if your horse pulls for whatever reason and your lead rope is wrapped around your hand, you can really hurt yourself. So making sure if you want to lead your horse and you're holding the lead rope, just make sure that you kind of double it up at the end and put your hand around it and make sure that the lead rope is never completely wrapped around your hand. Safety rule number 8 is that you don't want to spend much time very close to the ground when you're working around your horse. So I think the biggest example of this that I see with beginner riders is oftentimes riders will go down onto their knees, to get that mud off of the horse's leg. And this can be dangerous, right? If you're that low, and let's say they can even go to kick at a fly or something in the summertime, or, something startles them, someone walks in and startles them or something, and they go to jump out of the way, or they're kicking at a fly, you're not in a great place when you're right on the ground there. So if you are working around your horse and you have to get their legs cleaned off, you can just bend at your hips and your knees and try to always bend down with your rear end facing the horse's rear end. So again, if they're swatting at a fly or kicking at a fly, it's much nicer, if they're getting you in your rear end rather than your head, if you're bending down with your head around the horse's hind legs. Safety rule number 9 is to always ask questions. I think when we're starting up a new sport and you're starting out something, sometimes we can get shy with asking questions. You think, I remember when I was younger, I would think maybe I should know this already, or, maybe that's a bit embarrassing. Maybe this is obvious. I don't know. Nothing is obvious. Most things aren't obvious with horses. And especially when you're starting, it's so much better to make sure that you are just asking things. I encourage my students all the time, just ask. If you're not sure, just ask. I would much rather you ask and I can clarify something for you, so that rather than maybe assuming and doing something that could get you hurt or get the horse hurt. So always better to ask. There's no silly questions. Just go ahead and ask. They do say that you really need 2 lifetimes to really start to understand riding and to understand horses. And I 100% feel like that's true. And so asking questions is a great way to make you be a better partner for your horse, not only for safety's sake, 100%, but to be a better partner for your horse and to help you really understand them. Ask as many questions as you can. Safety rule number 10, and I think this is definitely one of the most important ones, is to learn how to listen to what the horse is telling you. Horses, and some people might argue with this, but they can be very predictable, because they do, even if it's subtle, they communicate with us through their body language. And so you always want to be watching and learning, okay, what are their ears telling me? And are they telling me something with their eyes or the way that they're carrying their head? Horses will always give you a signal that, hey, I don't like that. Ooh, I'm a little bit nervous of that. They're always trying to give us feedback and communicate with us. And the more, at first, when you're first learning, you could maybe notice, okay, the horse is doing something with their ears, and that means that they're telling me this. Or, maybe the horse is lifting his head and widening his eyes, and, he's kind of getting a bit nervous of something. But always watching your horse will help you be able to read the warning signs of if they don't like something or they're nervous about something. And then you can help them, right? And maybe get them out of the situation, or your instructor can help get them out of the situation. But learning how to read the horse and really watch for any communication that they're giving you is huge when it comes to keeping yourself safe. Now, and again, I can't stress this enough, none of these safety rules are meant to make you feel scared of horses. I mean, it's one of the best things that you'll ever do, in my opinion, but I'm biased. But it really is one of the best things. But you just want to know how to keep yourself safe and to keep your horse safe, right? So And the more that you ask questions and you stay aware of them and learn to read them, you become a better partner for your horse too. You really do. So take the time, learn about the horse's body language, always pay attention to where you are relative to where your horse is, making sure the horse can see you. Follow these 10 safety rules. They'll give you a good head start and they'll help keep you safe. I hope this helped clarify some things for you, and I hope that you feel better equipped to start your journey with horses. Thanks so much for watching.